Hey everybody, my name is Erica and today I'm going to be giving you a life update and going through every single book I've read since my last video, which was back in June. Alright, so I have not filmed in forever. Like I said, my last video was in June, and when I was setting up my camera today, I'm like, why haven't I filmed in so long? And then I realized my camera battery is dead on my DSLR, so I'm filming with my vlogging camera, which I don't like. I don't mind filming with the vlogging camera, but like it just doesn't look as good as my DSLR usually. I don't know, so I do apologize if the quality is not quite as good, but I really wanted to film. I miss filming so much. I do apologize that it's been forever since I last filmed. I just really lost inspiration, had no idea what I wanted to film, and I just wasn't really sure if I wanted to keep going. It kind of gets discouraging on booktube when you're not like reaching goals like other people, but obviously you can't compare yourself. It's everyone's journey, and I just do it for fun, so I have to remind myself of that. I hope that in 2023 I can get better about filming. That was a goal in 2022, and then I just kind of dropped off. But I also got really busy. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a life update, and then I'll go through every single book that I've read since my last video, which is kind of a lot. So let's just get right into it. First things first, my life update. So obviously last time I filmed was in June, so like in the summertime this past year, I really wanted to get out more and explore the city a little bit. So every weekend I tried to go out and do something different, like try a new bookstore, a new restaurant, just go to a new neighborhood, something like that. My bank account was not too pleased, but I really love exploring the city. I feel like I don't get out as much as I should living here, you know, like I just feel like there's so much more I could be doing. So I did a lot of that in the summertime when it was nice out and I loved my life. I also hung out with my friends a ton, I feel like, this past year, which was really nice. And we did a lot of stuff. We did a lot of stuff in the summertime and then going into fall. And I also got cast in a show. I might have mentioned it, I don't remember, but I got cast in a production of Antigone. We started rehearsals like the last week in August, but then we really started like in September and October. We opened in November just for one weekend. It was so much fun. I made so many great friends that are gonna hopefully last a lifetime, and so that was a really good experience. Of course, it did consume a lot of my time, but definitely worth it, as theater always is. I feel like I haven't gotten to do a lot of other acting gigs. I think I was in a film in June or July. I don't remember which month exactly, but I did a short film. But I really got to get back into the audition game anyway, so that was like my fall time, was doing that show, obviously doing Halloween activities, things like that. And then Thanksgiving, oh, also in September I saw 2 concerts. I went to see Florence and the Machine, which was a literal dream come true, and then I think like 2 weeks later I went and saw Michelle Branch, who is my original favorite singer ever. Like since I was like 7 years old, I was obsessed with her. So she pretty much is the reason I like the type of music I like, is because of her, like her style I always really loved. So that was a big thing that I did. November I went home for Thanksgiving, and then I went home for Christmas. Sorry, my radiator's on. I don't feel like dealing with it. Like I want to film, I don't care right now about the radiator. But I went home for Christmas. I had so much fun spending time with my family. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's pretty much what I've been up to since coming back here for a new year. I've just been working a lot, and we're really busy right now and trying to read a lot. I read so many books. Wow, my radiator is really popping on in full force today. That's really annoying. I'm not gonna stop filming. I'm sorry, everybody. But yeah, so I've just been trying to catch up with life, trying to read a lot, and that's pretty much the life update. Nothing exciting. Just trying to get back into the swing of things, auditioning. I'm taking an acting class right now. My sister, Amber, who y'all know, she's gonna be moving to Indiana, so we're gonna be really close, and that's gonna be great this coming year. I'm so excited for her. So yes, that is the life update portion of this, and let's start talking about the books I read in 2022. So I'm not going to go through all books, of course. I'm just going to go through all of the books I read since I last filmed. So that was my June wrap up. So we're going to start in July through the end of 2022, and October, November, December were my best reading months like ever. I was so proud of myself. I read so many books, and most of them were like holiday themed in some way, so that was exciting, and I'm excited to tell you about them. I'm not going to go into details for every book. I'm just going to literally say what book it is, who it's by, and maybe a couple things if I liked it or not. But there's so many books. If I went through all of the descriptions, that would be a long video, so here we go. So I have my list here. Please ignore me if I don't make eye contact for a minute. First book I read in July was Girls of Fate and Fury by Natasha Nang. This is the third and final book in the Girls of Paper and Fire trilogy, just so you know. I don't know if I really loved it. I can't remember. I like the series, but I think the first book is definitely the best. Next one, I reread The Falling in Love montage by Sierra Smith, of course one of my favorites. An Unwanted Guest by Sherry LaPena. Summer's Edge by Dana Mealy, I don't know. Summer of Salt by Katrina Lino. Hide by Kirsten White. This one I had such like high expectations and I was kind of disappointed, but it's fine. It's fine. It was good in its own way. Next book, Girls Can Kiss Now by Jill Gutowitz. I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. The Final Strife by Sarah El Arifi. Sorry if I said the name wrong. Fireborn by Rosaria Munda. So Fireborn is the first one in the Aurelian Cycle trilogy. I really wanted to love it. I've seen so many raving reviews for this trilogy and I did not like it. I think I really liked the first book, sort of. I was not a big fan. Anyway, let's keep going. The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie Ohm. Flamefall by Rosaria Munda. The Atlas 6 by Olivier Blake. I was not a big fan of this one either. I did not really like this book. I don't know really why it's so hyped up. I was really bored and I felt like nothing really got accomplished. So I will not be continuing on with any of that series, I don't think, unless, I don't know. This is hitting October. So the first book I finished in October was The Atlas 6. And oh my gosh, I read so many great spooky books for October. I loved it. Okay, next one after that was These Witches Don't Burn by Isabel Sterling. And then I read A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee. This was my only 5-star read, and it doesn't even have very many high reviews on Goodreads, but I'll talk about that at the end. After that one, I read This Coven Won't Break, which is the second book in that These Witches Don't Burn, I think, trilogy? Or I don't know, is it duology? I can't remember, but yeah, it's the second book. By Isabel Sterling. Only a Monster by Vanessa Len. This book I thought was going to be more Halloween-y, but it really wasn't. But, you know, it looks kind of spooky from the cover. And next we have The Girls Are Never Gone by Sarah Glenn Marsh. I think this was another sapphic, you know, spooky book. And then I read Wild and Wicked Things by Francesca May. This one started out really strong for me. I really loved the beginning. It was so, like, so good. But after a while I got kind of bored. Next book I read was I finally read Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, so I'm excited to dive into Hellbent, which is the second book that just came out. Ninth House was the first book I read in November, and then after that I read All of Us Villains and All of Our Demise by Amanda Foody. Not a huge fan of this duology. I'm very glad it is only 2 books. I enjoyed the first book, but I just got kind of bored by the second book. I just didn't really care at that point of what happened. Then, of course, I had my reread of Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. Always have to read them in that time of year. And then after that, after Crooked Kingdom, I read Fury Song by Rosaria Munda, which is the third and final book in the Aurelian Cycle. Just was not a fan. I had such high expectations from all the reviews on Goodreads and on BookTube and whatnot, and I just did not like it. I was so bored. I did not care about any of the characters. I was really sad. I was really sad that I didn't like it. So I finished, like, every book I wanted to read in November. I finished it way ahead of time, so I still had like a week left and I didn't know what to read. So I started reading my holiday books. So these are all going to be cheesy Hallmark Christmassy holiday books. So the first one was In the Event of Love by Courtney Kay. Next was Just Like Magic by Sarah Hogle. And then A Merry Little Meet Cute by Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone. This one, I don't know what I was expecting. It was not what I was expecting. Not really a huge fan. It was a little bit had too much sex for me. Just saying. Next was The Christmas Catch by Claire Lydon. And then Make the Yuletide Gay by Ivy L. James. A nice little guilty pleasure holiday read. Keep going. More Hallmarky type holiday books. Then we have Honeymoon for One by Rachel Bowdler. Christmas in Mistletoe by Claire Lydon. All I Want for Christmas by Maggie Knox. Kiss Her Once for Me by Alison Cockrum. Meet Me Under the Mistletoe by Jenny Bayless. Season of Love by Helena Greer. A Cat Cafe Christmas by Cody Gary. And finally, the last book I read for the year was Christmas at Rainbow Falls by T.B. Markinson. I read like 7 books in October, 9 books in November, and 10 books in December, so I was very pleased with those last 3 months of reading. Work was slow, so I got a little reading done at work, which was really nice. And I just like dedicated so much more time to reading by the end of the year, which was really great. And I feel like now I'm kind of in a good like flow of making sure I make time to read, and I feel like I can't function if I don't have a book with me at all times anymore, which is amazing. So hopefully I can keep that up for 2023. And again, so the only 5-star book I had, besides like rereading The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, The Falling in Love montage, and Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. A Lesson in Vengeance to me was a 5-star read. I was obsessed with it. It was so dark and so sexy, and it just really drew me in. It was so like creepy but amazing. So this book is dark academia, which I'm usually not a big fan of, I've noticed, but this one was really well done, to me at least. I mean, it has like a 3.84 rating on Goodreads, so specific, I know. So this book follows Felicity Morrow, who returns to Dalloway after taking a year off because of a tragic death of her girlfriend, and a lot of people are kind of like afraid of her. They don't really know what happened and if she played a role in her girlfriend's death. Dalloway is known for being a school that kind of revolves itself around witchcraft. The house she's staying in, her dormitory, is believed to be haunted by 5 spirits of 5 girls who had been delving into witchcraft. So Felicity kind of left that behind, even though that was like a big part of her life because of what happened with her girlfriend. Felicity tries not to dive back into witchcraft, but then Ellis Haley shows up, who is a prodigy writer. She shows up for her first year at Dalloway and is kind of writing a story trying to dive into the mystery of Dalloway and witchcraft, and drags Felicity along with her. And she's like obsessed with Ellis in this really dark way, but they end up falling for each other, and there's a lot of mystery and scariness and some wild things that happen in this book. But I loved it so much. It was so well written, it was so specific, and the way that like Felicity looks at Ellis and Ellis looks at Felicity, and just the like depth of romance there. It wasn't even that like romantic, but it was just so well written that you just felt those butterflies, and like, oh, it was so good. It had such a crazy ending, but I loved that book. Again, it was my only 5-star read for 2022, which is crazy to me because I usually feel like I rate books 5 stars all the time. So it was a really good book, and I can't wait to reread it this Halloween. Like, I was so surprised I had so many low ratings, but I'm like, you know what? If I like it, who cares? I really loved it. Okay. That is about it for this video. Those were all of the books I finished since my last video back in June. Again, I do apologize that I haven't filmed in forever. Let's hope that I can keep this up and I can get a new battery for my camera so that I can keep filming and feel more confident filming. And yeah, that is my life update. I don't think I have that much more exciting news or anything. Oh, I do have my own solo concert coming up in March back home in my hometown. So that is exciting, something I've been working hard on, sorta. So I'm hoping that it turns out really well and I can add it to my resume and that people actually show up. So that is something I'm working on currently. And yeah, that's about it. And I appreciate y'all for not abandoning me. I feel like I didn't lose any followers, but who knows. That is it for this video. What is my outro? I don't even remember. That is all I have for you today. If you like this video, be sure to give it a nice little thumbs up. If you want to keep following me on this booktube journey, please subscribe to my channel. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ErikaEGobble. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you soon with another video. Bye!